Well, Borodar, good morning and happy Easter to all of you. Today, I get the privilege of finishing the short series that was started a couple of weeks ago. We've gone through pain, loss, and the finale today, very, very apt on an Easter Sunday, is hope. And I love to talk about the topic of hope. Easter is a fantastic time of the year. And at this time of year, I always read, usually on Good Friday, Lockridge's meditation on Easter. Lockridge was an African American preacher who had a fantastic voice and incredible poetry in the way he spoke. And many of you will know the meditation I'm going to be referring to and reading just part of in a short while. And if you don't, I would recommend that you YouTube it, okay? I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs towards the end. By the time I get there, I'm sure many of you will know this meditation. It's Friday. He's hanging on the cross, feeling forsaken by his Father, left alone and dying. Can nobody save him? Oh, it's Friday, but Sunday's coming. It's Friday. The earth trembles, the sky grows dark. My King yields his spirit. It's Friday. Hope is lost. Death has won. Sin has conquered. And Satan's just a laughing. It's Friday. Jesus is buried. A soldier stands guard and a rock is rolled into place. It's Friday. It's only Friday. Sunday is a coming. Well, it's Sunday. It's Easter Sunday. And Christ is arisen. Christ has come back to life. Many of you remember, I'm sure, hearing that before, spoken a lot better than I've just said there by Lockridge. And it's obviously, the title is It's Friday, but Sunday's coming. And do recommend that you have a look at that yourself. Jesus, the hope of the world, has triumphed over death. And that's what we're celebrating today on this Easter Sunday. Hope. Christmas, just over 3 months ago now, we were told about the great promise of hope that came down in the form of this baby there in Bethlehem. But Easter Sunday is the proof that hope is real. Now, some of you'll know that I keep bees. And so the Easter illustration that I'm about to share with you now is particularly significant to me. And the story goes a little bit like this. There's a little boy and his father are driving down a country road on a beautiful spring afternoon. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a bumblebee flew into the car window. The little boy was allergic to bee stings and he was petrified. His father quickly reached out and he grabbed the bee and squeezed it in his hand and then released it. But as soon as he let go, the son became frantic once again because the bee was buzzing about the little boy. The father sensed his son's terror. Once again, he reached out his hand, but this time he pointed to his hand. There, stuck in the skin, was the stinger of the bee. You see this, he said? You don't need to be afraid anymore. I've taken the sting for you. See, as followers of Jesus, we don't need to be afraid of death because Christ has taken the sting out of death and sin. This may be your first time to Capital AD, to Lighthouse Church. I just want to read this very short verse from 1 Corinthians 15. It says this: "O death, where is your sting? O grave, where is your victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law." What a great passage. that Jesus, through his victory on Easter Sunday, has been victorious over death. And no more does it have to have that sting for us. But today I want to give you even more than that. What more hope can I give than that? Well, there is more hope, and I want to share it with you this morning. You see, there's a common narrative in the world today, and to be honest, it's always been around. It's this one. It says this about our lives. It says, you die, you rot. Life in this world is all the happiness you will ever get. Someday, the sun is going to die, and all human civilization is going to be gone, and nobody will remember anything anyone has ever done. Well, that's one way to imagine your and my future. But there's another, and I want to share that with you this morning. It goes something like this. There will be a new heaven and a new earth. There will be a judgment day when every evil deed and justice will be redressed. Because of Jesus, we can be headed for a future of endless joy. Those are two utterly, completely different futures. And depending on which one you believe, you're going to handle your life, your suffering, in two very different ways. Which one do you believe? Well, I'm going to share that passage this Easter morning. It's a passage that's written by the disciple John. And John was thought to be quite an old man when he wrote this. He was on Patmos, a little island in Greece. At that time, the church was being persecuted in horrible ways. Individual Christians you knew had been martyred and tortured in horrible ways. But he wrote this. It's in Revelation. It's in 21, Revelation 21, verses 1 to 5. Then I saw a new earth with no oceans and a new sky. For the present earth and sky had disappeared, and I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven. It was a glorious sight, beautiful as a bride at her wedding. I heard a loud shout from the throne saying, "Look, the home of God is now among men, and he will live them, and they will be his people. Yes, God himself will be among them. He will wipe away all tears from their eyes. There shall be no more death, no sorrow, nor crying, nor pain. All of that has gone forever." And the one sitting on the throne said, "See, I am making all things new." And then he said to me, "Write this down, for what I tell you is trustworthy and true. It is finished. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give to the thirsty the springs of the water of life as a gift. Anyone who conquers will inherit all these blessings, and I will be his God, and he will be my son." Wow. What a great hope. What hope are you living today? Before I became a Christian, I was quite a committed atheist, and one of the people I looked to back my thoughts was a very famous philosopher and free thinker, and his name is George Bernard Shaw. You maybe heard of him. Very famous man. But in his last writing, we read this. He says, "The science to which I pinned my faith is bankrupt. Its councils, which should have established the millennium, led instead directly to the suicide of Europe. I believed them once. In their name, I helped to destroy the faith of millions of worshippers in the temples of 1,000 creeds. And now they look at me and witness the great tragedy of an atheist who has lost his faith. I don't know what George Bernard Shaw finally believed, but I do know this, that we as human beings created in God's image are hope-shaped creatures. The way you live now is completely controlled by what you believe about the future. To give you an example, some of you, I've no doubt, after eating maybe many Easter eggs, will probably on Monday go on a diet. And you will do that because of your belief in the future. You want to maybe have a better shape or a healthier lifestyle. I don't know. But it will motivate you to maybe just eat that little bit less or eat a little bit more healthier to try and get to that goal, that hoped for healthy reality in the future. As an American philosopher called Andrew Del Banco, and he said this: we are future-orientated beings, and so we must understand ourselves as being in a story that leads somewhere. You don't require a belief in progress, only a belief in justice, a conviction that the wicked will suffer, that wrongs will be made right, and the underlying order of things is flouted with impunity. We all need hope. Only the hope that Jesus Christ can give us. I could give you evidence this morning for the hope that Christ Jesus gives us, but that's a long and detailed story in itself. And if any of you want to investigate that, and I would encourage you to do that, please do contact anyone at Capel Gladian. And if you see something called Alpha, have a go at that. That'll give you a chance to ask the questions, to ask for the evidence. But you see, hope that stands up to, enables us to face the worst, depends on faith in something that transcends this world and life, and is not available to those living without a worldview that denies the supernatural. There will be a final judgment where all wrongs will be made right. I love what Peter writes. Peter was another of Jesus' disciples, and one of his books, 1 Peter, the first chapter, verses 3 to 5, says this. It's entitled, Praise to God for a Living Hope. It says, Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In his great mercy has given us new birth in a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from death, and into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. The inheritance is kept in heaven for you, who through faith are shielded by God's power until the coming of salvation that is ready to be revealed in the last time. What hope are you living in today? Is your hope strong, sure, vital, accompanied by faith and love? Is it causing you to be joyful, confident, patient, pure? A Methodist minister, he headed up the Methodist conference, W.E. Sangster, began to lose his voice and mobility in the mid-1950s. He had a horrible disease called progressive muscular atrophy. He recognised the end was near, and so he threw himself into writing and praying. In the midst of his suffering, he pleaded, "Let me stay in the struggle, Lord. I don't mind if I can no longer be a general, but give me a regiment to lead." Sangster's voice eventually failed completely and his legs became useless. On Easter morning, just a few weeks before his death, he took a pen and shakily wrote this to his daughter. It was a letter, and in it he said, "It's terrible to wake up on Easter morning and have no voice with which to shout, 'He is risen.' But it would be still more terrible to have a voice and not want to shout." What hope are you living in today? Is your hope strong? Is it sure, vital, accompanied by faith and love? Is it causing you to be joyful, confident, patient and pure? I heard a story recently about an African Muslim who became a Christian. And he went back to his village and his friends asked, "Why have you become a Christian?" He answered, "Well, it's like this. Suppose you were going down a road and suddenly the road forked in two directions. You didn't know which way to go. There at the fork were two men. One was dead and one alive. Who would you ask which way to go?" I like that story. See, man has made some amazing tombs over the years. The pyramids of Egypt, the Taj Mahal of India, the tombs of kings and dignitaries of Westminster Abbey, and Arlington Cemetery there in Washington with the war dead, where every day there's a changing of the guard and much ceremony there. All these are very beautiful in their own way. But the most amazing tomb of all is far from ornate. It's just a simple stone cave. But what happened there changed the world. And it can change you with a hope, not just for now, but for all eternity. What hope are you living in today? Is your hope strong, sure, vital, accompanied by faith and love? Is it causing you to be joyful, confident, patient and pure? If not, have a look at Jesus. Look at what he did and what he said and what he was. And I pray that this Easter, you, maybe for the first time, receive the hope that only Jesus Christ can give. Happy Easter, everybody, and I hope the rest of the day is a great one for you.